No one came from miles around and said, "Hey, Andy, good morning. That music's funky." That was Deep Purple echoing through the halls this morning. Yep, the hunt for vinyl, Andy, is... Ooh, that coffee's got a kick. Hunt for vinyl it's slowing down as we continue to add. The bulk button new. I have vinyl, I have cassettes, I have 8-tracks, CDs, reel-to-reels. What I need is containers to store the albums in. You see, milk crates used to work in the 70s and 80s, and in the 90s, milk companies were tired of getting basically ripped off. And so they changed the dimensions by a half an inch. 3/4 of an inch, Andy's saying. An album is, a vinyl record is 12 1/4 inches. Milk crate is 12 by 12. They did that on purpose. They used to be 13 by 13. So out there in YouTube, television, radio, podcasting land, if you happen to have 10, the old milk crates, or exactly peach crates work too, message me and I'll take them off your hands. Monday, again. It's Monday, August 7th. It is National Root Beer Float Day. And Andy, it's National Whittle Your Toes Day. Cool. Man, we finally got a break from that heat this weekend, Andy. Of course, the rest of the nation, especially the Southwest and the middle of the country, like Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, they are roasted, but we had rain pretty much all weekend long, Andy. It was just, I mowed the lawn late, and I mean late Friday. Woke up Saturday morning and already didn't need the water. Water rained all weekend. When I left, it was just getting twilight, yards looking good. Looking good. Yes, sir. But the heat wave continues. We're going to creep back up to the 80s this week. Nothing like we had last couple weeks with the high 90s. The fair is gone. Did you go, Andy? I did not. I went over there one afternoon. It was Wednesday, I think, of last week. I had to do some work at the bank, up there at the Interstate Bank. It was like 11. The guy's like, "It's not even open yet." I'm like, "I just want to go talk to some food vendors. I got lunch." Gilgo. Can you say Gilgo Beach? Let's go to vacation and have brunch at Gilgo Beach. In case you don't know, in case you're living under a rock, this is not new. More than a decade, there's been these unsolved killings, bodies found. It's known as the Gilgo Beach murders. Terrorizing residents, baffling authorities. It's off Long Island South Shore. It is in Bethel, New York, Andy, Long Island. It's baffling people. What has it been since 2009? If what I'm seeing here and what I'm reading here, you got me. is this has been going on, and there's been bodies and bodies, and authorities announced a break, and it was 2 weeks ago. We're a little behind on this, but I wanted to let it develop a little bit before we did. I didn't want to cover it, breaking. So they broke it 2 weeks ago, charging a New York architect. That's Rex Heuermann. He's 59. He has been. Have you seen this guy? Creepy, man. He's just creepy. Businessman, but that creepy look. Drinks. You can tell. But anyway, they charged him in connection with 3 of the 4 killings. They were known as the Gilgo 4. He does look like a serial killer. I mean, what does a serial killer look like? Me. Andy just said, I look like a serial killer. All right, then. On Halloween, I'm just going to go like this. People ask me, I'll say I'm a serial killer because they look, Andy says. Rex Heuermann has been charged with first and second degree murder. Like I said, in 3 of the 4. It's Melissa Bartholdi, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Melissa was in 2009, and Megan and Amber were both in 2010. Now, he's also a prime suspect in the 2007 disappearance and death of a 4th woman, and her name is Maureen Brainerd Barnes. He has not been charged with that case, but prosecution says it's expected to be resolved soon. Those are quotes, expected to be resolved soon. Herman is being held without bond, unless he was in California, where they have the no bond now, and he'd probably be released. No, they wouldn't, because he's a threat. Really, Andy, you think he might be? Let's go back and see. It all started, Andy. It all started in 2010 with the search for Shannon Gilbert. She was a 24-year-old aspiring actress from New Jersey. In that search, it led authorities to the remains of 10. So we got her plus 10, or her is 10? Her plus, all right. So we got 11 bodies. Other people is what you're telling me. They were searching for Shannon. They found 10 others along Long Beach. That's Gilgo Beach. It's a really nice area. It's desolate, not desolate like the Mission Mountains in Montana, desolate. But still, enough said. Like I said, Shannon Gilbert, she was just on May 1st, all of a sudden, she was gone on 2010. Now, Gilbert was working as an escort, as were all of these other girls. But the weird thing about the Gilbert situation is that authorities released in 2020 transcripts of a 9/11 call. Andy, a 9/11 call from inside of a home of a client shortly before 5 a.m. The recording says, "There is someone after me. Please help me." She gave her location, Long Island. Gilbert's remains were discovered in December of 2011 in a marsh in Gilgo Beach. Gilgo. Doesn't it sound like a kid's toy? The Gilgo! The Gilgo killed their baby! We'll get to this. Babies are in here, okay? On December 11th, 2010, now they were still searching for Gilbert. Next day, human remains were found by a police officer and his canine dog. Oh, dogs are in this. Cool. There's dogs in this. Oh, the dogs discovered during a training exercise remains of Melissa Barthélemy. She was 24. 2 days after that, 2 days after Barthélemy was found, the Suffolk County Police found three more, count them, sets of human remains. They were within a quarter of a mile, from the first discovery. So, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello were identified as those remaining three. So the cause of death of all four women that were found at Gilgo Beach so far was violent homicide. Okay, violent, Andy. What's the difference? What is there, a regular homicide, then a violent homicide? All the victims were, like I said, they were found. They were just like within just throwing distance, literally, from each other. And they were only like 30 feet from the Ocean Parkway, which is like, for two lanes going this way and two lanes going that way, and it goes through Gilgo Beach, and they were like just dragged off the road. Whoever did they weren't taking a whole lot of time on this, okay? Now on March 29th, so we're moving ahead again, all right, remains were found, only partial remains here, which begs the question, where's the rest? Okay, but partial's enough to get a DNA sample and identify. Ocean Parkway again, Gilgo Beach again. This was March 29th, so we're back and forth. The remains were identified as Jessica Taylor. Got a scorecard, Andy? How many? 6? Okay. Are you sure? Okay. Okay. Now we're going to jump again to April 4th, 2011. The remains of Valerie Mack. She was 24. Who was last seen working in Philadelphia. Okay. Her remains were found December on Gilgo Beach. She was known as Jane Doe 6. You were right, Andy, 6. Until DNA testing identified her remains. She had been last seen by her family in, where is it? In Port Republic, Andy? Port Republic, New Jersey. In 2000. So that's 11 years back. So you got a definite thing going here. It's like you got a dumping ground. It's almost like Criminal Minds. You got a dumping ground, you got an MO, you got all the targets. They were all petite, they were all young, they were all pretty, and they were all working girls. Okay? When they were, this is April 4th now, we're on April 4th still, when they found Valerie Mack, not on that same day that they found, because they were now canvassing the beach. They found the remains of a child believed to be around 2 years old, still unidentified. The remains were found literally just a couple feet from where Valerie Mack was found. Also on April 4th, as they were canvassing the beach, were they drinking sex on the beach while they were doing this? Just, I know it's a serious topic. Serial killers are always serious. No, they're not. Dexter, you ever watch Dexter? Also on April 1st, they found the child and Valerie Mack. They found identified Asian male along Gilgo Beach, right along the parkway. And I mean, how many feet, Andy? 10 off the road. He'd been there, they estimate, 10 years. They estimated his age to be 17 to 23 years old. How many, Andy? 8. So all the 8 bodies that I previously mentioned were found a 3-mile stretch along this Long Island Ocean Highway on Gilgo Beach. Okay? However, which adds a little intrigue to this, April 20th, 2011, 2 more sets of remains were found on the Ocean Parkway. But they were about 7 miles from the burial ground. Criminal Minds, they would say, look, he changed his dumping ground. Yeah, I watch it. One of the sets of the remains are now identified as Jane Doe 7. Even though we have 8, she came, good job, Andy. She came and we're going in order. The second set of remains has been identified as those of the mother of the 2-year-old that I previously mentioned that was found, and they were linked by DNA, but nobody knows who either one of them. So you got Rex, man, just doing the killing field thing. How'd they catch him? Good question. They got to screw up. They always do. In Criminal Minds, they always screw up some way. So in January of 2020, the Suffolk County Police released photos which they thought could be significant evidence. First was a black belt with the initials WH. We have WH, and a description of a first-generation green Chevy Avalanche with special green paint. This was kind of really significant because it relates to the whereas of when Amber Costello was included and identified by witnesses in the first investigation, a first-generation Chevy Avalanche with special green paint and a specific white male with a physical characteristic kind of walk was witnessed at the scene. Just the discovery of that much led to a complete. It don't take much as you watch Criminal Minds. If they got a suspect, Atlanta City bomber, Wrong person. Wrong. To Heuermann. Court records show phone records connected Heuermann to site locations where the burner phones were used to arrange meetings. The girls used burner phones, the burner phones just because they found phones, they found this, they found that. The records show Heuermann was in the same location as the burner cell phones of Bartholomew, Waterman, and Costello. They tied them by cell phone records. In one case, on July 10th of 2009, records show the burner phone and Heuermann's phone were in the same location, and then they traveled together from New Jersey to New York, and then both Heuermann's and Bartholomew's cell phone traveled east towards Long Island. July 10th was the last day that Bartholomew was seen alive. Shit, that's enough there, Andy, right there. Hair, saliva samples were taken from the trash outside Heuermann's house. They have cross stuff from his wife, from his kids. Since in jail, he's like on suicide watch and protective custody. Why do they freaking do that? Because they'll kill themselves like Epstein. I tell you, Epstein didn't kill himself. Authorities, they said that they had Heuermann on their radar for more than a year. But an identified source, according to the Associated Press and the research that Andy was giving me this morning, said that they had to arrest him right away because they may have his sights on another victim. So there's like more to come. I mean, once he was arrested, they searched his residence. He had like 300 firearms. Just of all sorts of things. Pro-Second Amendment. It was like a walled-off vault. Only 92 of the registered were guns registered. Also in the vault, a children's doll that definitely seemed out of place in a gun vault and didn't belong to anybody in the house. The attention, I mean, a worldwide, nationwide attention is, from Vegas, where he had a residence, to South Carolina, to everywhere. Arrest, search warrants, a deluge of information is turning in. As authorities say right now that there's a flood of new evidence. Of course there is, Andy. There's got to be. It's going to take a while for them to sort everything out. The suspect, the serial killer, God, he's a creepy-looking dude. Rex Heuermann, he lived less than 5 miles from where all the bodies from the dumping ground, less than 5 miles. He lived with his wife in his childhood home, and he'd lived there for 25 years. It's in Massaquoi Park in Long Island. Man, Andy, true high crimes and misdemeanors, man. There's more to this coming. Gee, bodies, it's Criminal Minds. I'm telling you, man, it's like an episode. Bodies, killing fields, and M.O. It's like just the coolest. And the creepy dude. It's even creepier than looking the Idaho guy that killed the 4 college students. Yeah, he's creepier than that guy. Just true. It is. I always love true high crimes and misdemeanors. Huh? Oh, yeah. And speaking of high crimes and misdemeanors, last week a federal grand jury in Washington has indicted former President Donald Trump. Third time, Andy, this third time's a charm. No, George is coming. Okay, Andy says George is coming. They accuse him of conspiring to overturn the election, conspiring to interrupt Congress, and to take every basically American person's right to vote and have that vote canceled. It is notable, though, that that the indictment reflects him spreading lies, and what it basically says is that the claims that Donald Trump were false, and the defendant knew they were false, but continued to spread them anyway. You can't yell fire in a movie theater. Donald Trump, in his defense, he did have the right to contest this election in the courts and the recounts at the state levels. But those efforts by the former president were uniformly across the board unsuccessful in every state, every court. They have co-conspirators, and for a good reason. Co-conspirators, they list, we have 6, Andy. We have 6 co-conspirators. We have Rudy Giuliani with the makeup running and drunk. No, we just have Rudy. Okay? No, Judge, we have Rudy. Rudy's lost his bar license in New Jersey, Washington, Georgia, and New York. We have Trump lawyer John Eastman. And if you remember, it came out that John Eastman, who was the mastermind for the whole plan to appoint false electors. Sidney Powell, who has also she's defendant 3, sanctioned by the courts. Justice Department Jeffrey Clark, who Trump wanted to be the Attorney General. This is Kenneth Chesebro. Yep. Kenneth Chesebro. Remember, Kenneth, he was the one who sent emails to Giuliani that came out about a fake election plot. And the 6th person is unknown. Now, co-conspirators are a really good move because they can dangle the carrot. It's a good way to get a bunch of people together and say, you know what Rudy said about Sidney, and Sidney said about Don, and Donald was saying about you. Inevitably, when you have that many co-conspirators, someone's going to roll. Trump's already said, you don't, he's already making the threats on social media, but one of them 6 co-conspirators are going to snitch. Snitches get stitches. Unless it's all right. So, Andy, we're about ready to wind up? No. Root Beer Float Friday. It's National Root Beer Float Day. Yes. I did comment. And no. It is National Wiggle Your Toes Day. Make sure they're painted. And you have toe rings. Are you sure about this? You're always bullshitting me on what is August 7th. Google. Today is National Root Beer Float Day and National Wiggle Your Toes. Andy, you were damn right. So, and what a better time. It's summertime. Everybody's wearing flip-flops. It's Wiggle Your Toes Day. So, Andy, what makes some toes wiggleable, not some others? What does it take to have cute feet? Toes. Toes continuity. Okay? Not like long ones, not gangly ones. Total continuity. Trim nails. Arches. And he's like shaking his head. High arches. Examples of cute feet that you can look up. Megan Fox, who we have mentioned, Emma Watson, Selena Gomez, Jennifer Lawrence, Margot Robbie, Emma Stone, Keira Knightley, Kristen Stewart, Danica Patrick, the NASCAR driver. She posts on Facebook all the time feet pics. She's got her feet up watching TV here and there, getting a pedicure. Hell, I watch The Big Bang Theory every night for an hour just to watch Kaylee Coco walk around barefoot. So, it's National Wiggle Your Toes. Girls, get out the flip-flops and wiggle. Go get a root beer float while you do it, Andy said. All right, so we are out of here. Have a great week. It is going to be gorgeously bearable this week. 80, I can bear 83. I can't bear 96. So, until next week, I think we'll do the Woodstock next week. Andy, is that scheduled? We're going to do Woodstock and music because it's the anniversary and it's the right date. So, until next week, remember to spay and neuter, adopt, don't shop, rescue, foster, adopt a shelter pet today, kiss your dog. Until next week, be cool, be careful, be wise, and be kind. See you, everybody. Bye.